1410 AM. Unwind with the perfect blend of soothing sounds and lighthearted conversations that'll make every bite taste better. Whether you're in office or out on the town, let us serve up the best in radio company. Stream on the go with our app on Google and Apple. Because lunchtime is your time. Out to lunch every day from 12 to 2 on WRMN 1410 AM, the talk of the town.
From morning coffee to your evening commute, WRMN 1410 AM is here for you. The faithful friend that brings you local news, timely topics, and the friendliest voices in the Valley. Stay informed, entertained, and engaged with our full lineup of shows, streaming all day, every day at WRMN1410.com or on the WRMN app. Wherever you are, we're right there with you. So why switch stations? Stick with the one that has it all. WRMN 1410 AM, your daily companion, your constant conversation.
It is 9:06. It is time for Kane County Speaks here on this beautiful Thursday morning as we are joined by Brian Anderson and another great guest here this morning running for Kane County Board. And going to be a good show. 3 shows this month. Brian Anderson, welcome to it. It's been a busy month, but it is a busy season for you and everybody involved in local politics as we get ready for the election.
It is great to see you, Mark, and what a beautiful day in Elgin. 71 degrees. I know we're in Elgin, but I feel like I'm in San Diego. I was just out there a couple of weeks ago visiting my youngest son, and this is a perfect day. I could have this kind of climate every day of the week.
Unbelievable.
So, yes, Eric Stair running for Board District 16.
Correct.
And as I do in all the shows before we jump into the interview, just want to give any of your listeners or viewers out there this morning just a reminder of what's going on with the Kane County Board and how it's just so important for those of us that call Kane County home to try to pay attention. We all have jobs, we work, we've got grandkids, we've got things going on, but boy, if you can pay attention, go to a board meeting live, or log on that morning of the board meeting. You can go to YouTube and kick in Kane County government, and that particular board meeting would be live. What we had yesterday was the executive board meeting, and it was a little over 3.5 hours long. But in that was a prelude to the budget and a special finance committee that they had last week. It was 1 hour and 54 minutes, and it is very, very it's frustrating to watch or listen to because as you've heard me on your show before, the Democrats that I think are doing a good job along with the Republicans, they're frustrated because they're not getting the data they need to get the budget they need for we the people here in Kane County. It's a big job. It's a $400 million budget here in Kane County, and I put the blame squarely on the shoulders of Corinne Pirogue, who is the chair. She needs to lead, and then obviously if you're the chairman of a committee, which that committee of the chair is Dale Berman, and it's just very sad. Anyway, your listeners, Monday, August 12th at 9 is another special board meeting. So they are working feverishly to try to come together and figure out what they need to do. And there is a shortfall. And there's some issues. I mean, I don't know, 15, 20, 25 million. They got to figure out how to rearrange the deck chairs is what I'll say. But there is no fear because I believe we've got over $300 million in the bank. They don't talk about that. I think there's interest income that gets earned, which is like 16 to 17 million. So what you may hear is scare tactics, but we can have a balanced budget, and there's some things that they can do. And lastly, the big county board meeting, which is only once a month, is August 13th. And that's where all of the board members will be. And so if you get a chance as a citizen, go down, go in. If you want to sign up to talk, you got 5 minutes on agenda and 3 minutes off agenda. And that, by the way, is another topic that they're dealing with, is they're trying to minimize the public speaking and eliminate the 5 minutes and take it down to just 3 minutes. But that's enough on what's going on with the county board. Delighted that I'm here with Eric. Like many of the board members, candidates, he has a full-time job, and I think you had to take a little PT time today.
I did.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
So just to get started, I like to the icebreaker with the Are you single? Are you married? Do you have children? You don't look old enough, by the way, to have kids, but tell us about you.
I am married. I have my beautiful wife, Kelly, for now since 2018. We've been married. Can't forget that date.
No.
So my daughter is 22 years old. Had her, I was 24 years old, just out of the Marine Corps. And she's now out in North Carolina. She actually went to school at South Elgin, though. And now she's out there working 2 jobs, waitressing and going to school. I believe she's well, I don't want to say she is going to school, she's going back to school. So that's where I'm at on that. We live in South Elgin on Juniper Lane, where it's the Candy Cane Lane street that, we're known for.
At Christmas time, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the famous street.
Yeah.
That's the famous street. And it's, just love getting out there, setting all that stuff up. It usually takes me about a week to work up the motivation to get out there and do it. But, once I get going, it's a good 14 hours of work. So I split it up over a few days, and I do cheat a little bit. We pay a company to come and wrap the trees with lights and get the outline of the house. But the nice thing about that is they come and they take it away when it's over.
Yeah.
So.
And you're the organizer of the whole neighborhood event, right?
No, sir.
Oh, I was trying to give you some extra credit.
I can't take credit for that one. We have 2 people on our street. Actually, Cliff Surgis's parents. He's another county board member. His parents live on our street. And I remember moving in 2017 to our house, and it had to be March. It was around March, and I remember them walking down to introduce themselves. Both the Cliff's parents, and they wanted to remind me about Christmas. And I only found out what our street did about 2 weeks before we closed on our house. I was like, oh, great. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Because my theory about, Christmas lights prior to that was if you don't put it up, you don't have to take it down.
Right.
So that all changed.
But now you'd be frowned upon.
Oh, now
if you didn't put any lights up, yeah.
All out. But it's awesome when you see kids walking down the street. Usually we try to do a bonfire out there. On certain nights, several of our neighbors do, and we all kind of hang out. But just the smiles and how excited kids are when they get to see that, it makes it all worth it for sure.
Well, again, for me, the nugget is just the community involvement, the community service, the idea of community in general, which is great. The other thing that I don't want our listeners to lose, I think you mentioned military. Did you serve it?
I did. I did 4 years in the Marine Corps. I was in during peacetime, so I had a good experience. Many of my brothers did not. They had, did several deployments to Iraq, Afghanistan. I fortunately did not have to do that. I got out just before 9/11. I was a corrections officer. I served at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I did 3 years there, and then my last year was in Okinawa, Japan.
Well, number one, thanks for serving.
Well, you're welcome.
I'm going to be 63 in
It was my honor.
September. I never served a Jew.
No, sir, I haven't.
Yeah, so
No.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Did that come out of just your desire, or did you have a
To join the Marine Corps?
Yeah, did you any of your family members?
Yes, I have. My father was a Marine. My uncle's also a Marine, and he's a local Kane County resident as well in Aurora. He served in Vietnam. My father served, and then I got to serve with my brother for 2 years. We were stationed, our barracks were right next to each other. He was with the MPs, and I was with the Brig. And, you know, he did Okinawa his first year, I did it my last year, so we kind of flip-flopped. But we got to spend 2 years together. My older brother also served. He went to the Naval Academy. Yep.
Oh, so he went to Annapolis.
Yes,
nice.
He went to Annapolis, and he was an officer in the Navy. He ended up. Clinton did his military cutbacks, and he had broke his neck playing football in Annapolis for the Naval Academy his sophomore year, I believe, and then he recovered. He was a walk-on to play baseball there, and long story short. They offered him, you know, I don't forget what it was, to get out, and he took it and went, and he ended up playing baseball for the Giants and the Dodgers.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I bring it up, and I think everything that we do in life, there's experiences, and I think just the modeling that you received sets you up for what you're about ready to undertake and run for this board seat. And so you've had great modeling, great examples, and that's good. I got to believe your mom and dad super proud of you and your brothers.
Well, unfortunately, I lost my dad in 2019. So I would have loved for him to be able to see where I'm at today. And that's tough. You know, losing him was a big hit in our family because my dad meant a lot to all of us. But yes, they definitely helped shape me. And part of the reason I joined the Marine Corps, it's a funny story because my dad and I butted heads growing up all the time. And one day, I think I was working for my mom at the time. She owned an art gallery and a design firm. And, you know, I was sleeping in probably and late for work. And I remember him coming in my bedroom. I was probably 18 years old or 19. And he's like, hey, you feel like going to work today? And I go, you know, no, Dad, I'm not. I'm going to go join the Army. Just in spite of him. And he goes, oh, okay. And he shuts the door. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I didn't get the reaction I was looking for on that one. I always knew I was going in the Marine Corps. So I went over there to the recruiting depot in Schaumburg and joined the Marine Corps. And I've never seen my dad prouder of me than the day I graduated.
Yeah.
So
amen.
Yeah.
Amen to that. So you've been married 7 years, right?
Yes.
Got the 24-year-old.
22 years.
22. I'm giving her. I'm aging her. Thanks.
Yeah. Let's slow down.
Tell us what what's your current vocation, and then the second flip side of that is, which we'll go deeper on, is what's your why, right? Why did you decide to get into local politics?
Okay. Well, did you ask what I'm doing for work right now?
Right. What's your vocation? What do you do?
So I'm a garbage man. I sling trash for a living, and I love it. I work for a great company, Republic Services. I work with I forget how many guys we have right now. I want to say around 60 different drivers. I mean, I couldn't handpick a better company and a better group of people to work with than the guys that I work with at Republic. My supervisors are fantastic. Our GM's great. It's just all around. It's a great company to work for. I have a deep appreciation for everything that they've done for me, and that, you know, I'll hopefully continue to work there for a long time. I've got 14 more years. till I can retire. But and I'm also a township trustee with Mark.
Yes.
Very proud to work with Mark. Our board, with the leadership of Ken Bruderly, who is an amazing supervisor. He has turned this township around from when we got it it was in pretty bad shape. And I'm not going to point fingers and blame at other parties or whatever, but they left it to us in pretty bad shape. And what we've done, what Ken Bruderly's done, really, we just approved the bills.
Yeah.
So, but he's really, I think, just turned it all around, and we're in really good shape right now. We've kept the taxes at bay, haven't raised your taxes at all. I could personally say I have never once voted on a tax increase, and I will always continue to do that. And the reason I decided to become a county board, to run for county board, was just because I felt like there was something else that I can do outside of the township, and I can make a difference over there. I think I'm leaving the township in great hands. With the trustees that we have here. So it was a good opportunity for me to kind of spread my wings a little bit and be useful somewhere else.
No, thanks, and we'll go back to that. I don't want your audience to lose sight of the fact of what you do in your vocation. So you're a garbage man. What time do you get up in the morning to get ready for work?
I'm up at 4 a.m. every day.
Mark, what time do you get up every morning?
Not too far after Eric. He gets up about 4. I'm up by about 4:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I bring that up is the little I know about you in conversations we've had. You're up at 4. You do a full day, and then you actually, and we won't spend much time there, but in the primary, to put you in the position where you're at today, you would work a full 8, 10, 12-hour day, and then you would go home, take a shower, and then go out and knock on doors to let John Q. taxpayer in your district know who you are and running, right? How many houses do you think you walked and knocked and talked?
That's hard to say, honestly. I don't. It's during the primary. It was, I had a mountain to overcome to beat Mike Kenyon. I mean, his name, every single person in South Elgin knows who Mike Kenyon is.
That took courage, I think, right there, to even decide that you wanted it so bad that you were going to go for it, despite the fact that Mike Kenyon, a very good man, was in that position and has been for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But my point is your work ethic. I don't want people to lose sight of that, because your kind of work schedule, I mean, most of us outside of radio people like Mark, I mean, people are up early and then they're working, but then once they're off work, they're in relax mode. And you worked diligently until dark.
Yes.
Right? Meeting and greeting people, and I just don't want the audience to lose sight that kind of a work ethic is actually rare. Now, you may live it every day, and nobody ever tells you that, but I can tell you that is a rare quality, and I just want to thank you for that.
Oh,
because I talk to people all the time. Well, I'm thinking about running, and I go, when are you going to start your campaign and your knocking? And it's like, I don't know. Late September. And I think right now, and not to get off track, but the election's November 5th. What are you doing right now?
I'm knocking on doors every opportunity I have. During the primary, it was 3 to 4 hours a night after work, and then weekends at anywhere from 8 to 10 hours. That was Saturday and Sunday. But Sunday was more around 6 or 7 because I go to church. So, that eats up my morning and early afternoon, and then I'd get out from there till dark.
And you don't sling trash around here either.
No,
you got to drive in and out every day, which kills more time out of your schedule.
Yeah, Melrose Park is where our yard's at, so it's a 35-minute drive. It's easy in the morning, when the traffic's kind of light at 5 a.m. when I leave the house, and then coming home is a little different depending on what time I get out of there.
The other thing I don't want the audience to lose sight of, which is rare, is just how you described your work environment and working at Republic. I mean, listen, I talk to people all the time. It's a job. It pays the bills. It's money. What you said was you loved what you did. You loved the people you work with. You loved the people you reported to. And, you know, again, when you have that kind of background and foundation, I can tell you that that's all part of the success model. If you've had bad people and you've had bad supervisors, my experience, and I don't have a lot, I just spent 30 years in corporate recruiting, and so I have a little bit of inside knowledge of people and competencies and how they operate. When you have bad leadership, I'm not going to say it all the time, but many times you're kind of a bad leader because that's all you've ever experienced. How does that matter on the board? It matters a lot because you're interfacing with men and women with so many different opinions and ideas, and I'm sure you and Mark both experience that on the Elgin board. I'm sure it's not all Republican. It's a Republican and Democrat, and so you have to learn how to collaborate and work across and talk, and so I think that's all great. Before the break, and just how much time do we have, Mark?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 minutes.
So the big why, you've had success where you're at. Just expound a little bit more on, you know, this endeavor of I think I'm going to run Kane County Board and utilize your experience and the successes that you've had at the Elgin Township as a county board member.
Well, to put very simply, I think that I know I can make a difference on that board because I know that I will make decisions that aren't always going to be easy, but I will do what needs to be done on that board. And it starts with shut the spigot off. The spending needs to stop. If you managed, and I'll put it easy, simple for anybody to understand, if you manage your own household and your checkbook the way the county board is managing your money right now, you'd be homeless in no time. They just spend. When you don't have the money to buy something, and my grandfather taught me this very early on. I didn't always take his advice, but if you don't have the money to buy it, you don't get it. Simple as that.
Yeah.
He bought everything cash. You can't do that today. I mean, I don't see how anybody could buy a home or even a vehicle or anything like that just on a $50,000 or $60,000 a year income, which is actually a lot of money. And people just I don't know what the numbers are exactly, but Elgin, Aurora, there's a lot of areas where you have people that live below the poverty line. They can't afford to pay what they're already paying. And I hear the other side talk about, oh, it's only $5 more, it's only this, and they give this number out there, right? What does it matter if it was 1 cent or $5? It makes no difference. If you can't pay what you're already paying, then it makes no difference.
Well, let me just pause you right there. I love what you said, and you're talking about fiscal responsibility, and you're talking about what they were actually just discussing in that first, this July 30th special finance meeting. You're right, Eric, and you hit the nail on the head. Sometimes when you're in a position, and I think Mark knows this as well, being in a township board, that sometimes you have to roll up the sleeves and make the tough decisions for the entire, in Kane County, I think there's 301,000 registered voters, but beyond that, there's 514,000 citizens that live in Kane County, and it's for everybody. And you're exactly right, and I'm going off the top of my head, I don't have my notes, but in that July 30th meeting, you're about an hour, 20 minutes into the meeting, and Vice Chair Vern Tepe, who we here in Elgin, we have to elect David Teese to remove this guy because he is a spending monster. He's in the board meeting, and it's on the record. These are not Brian Anderson's words. He's like, well, this is the first time we're kind of thinking and hearing and talking about this. And I'm like, And I went to the board meeting yesterday, and that's exactly what I said. I reminded him and all the board members, the budget, keep the main thing the main thing. You should be talking about the budget every single meeting. And if you're a board chair of all these different committees, you need to keep the budget in mind, right? Every dollar matters. What we do, we can be fiscally responsible. And I want to go back before the break. You were able to do that at a smaller microcosm level here in Elgin Township,
Yes.
right? So before we break, and I know Mark will let me know, how did you guys do that to stay balanced and fiscally responsible?
We were as frugal as we can possibly be with every decision we made. We didn't carelessly spend. I mean, it's simple. If you don't have the money, don't spend it. I mean, there's nothing. There's not a. I mean, like I said, I sling garbage for a living. I'm not a genius. I'm not a rocket scientist. I didn't go to college. It's just simple mathematics. If you don't have it, you can't spend it.
I can't remember which one of our founding fathers, one of these guys, I don't know if it was Thomas Paine, right? It's always common sense, right? They taught us that 247, 48 years ago. It's common sense. You're right.
We live in a world where it's I want, yes. You know, and that's kind of what we've been conditioned to be. I mean, I'm guilty of it. You know, I want things, I go get it. And sometimes I shouldn't, you know, because it just isn't a smart buy or whatever. You know, I'm guilty of, you know, making impulse purchases, and then my wife gets all mad at me, and then, you know, sometimes I have to go return things.
So we'll pick this up after we, Mark signals me for the break. Your experience and your township experience. Tell us about, you know, your communication style and how you like to collaborate with people.
We'll do that right when we come back from the break.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Hey, I want to remind everybody that the paid program you're listening to does not necessarily reflect the opinions and views of Elgin, the Fox River Valley Media Network, or WRMN, this station, or their employees. And our phone lines are going to be open when we come back, too, at 847-931-1410 if you want to join or talk to Eric and Brian today. It's 847-931-1410. I'll keep an eye on the YouTube comments and the comments on our Image 360 information text line at 505-926-1410. We'll be right back.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Dine out with family and friends at Nick's Pizza in Elgin or Crystal Lake. Nick serves up award-winning thin crust and Chicago-style pizza. Eat in or carry out. In addition to Nick's fabulous pizza, let Nick's cater your events with pizza, pasta, Italian beef, and other delicious offerings. Their big banquet rooms can accommodate all your event needs. So, for great pizza in a Northwoods, cabin-style atmosphere, bring family and friends to Nick's. Visit nickspizzapub.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-234-0316. 800-234-0316. That's 800-234-0316.
As the Elgin Police Department continues to participate in the Distracted Driving campaign, they wanted to share some tips from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website regarding safe driving. If you are expecting a text or need to send one, pull over and park your car in a safe location. Once you are safely off the road and parked, it's safe to text. Designate your passenger as your designated texter. Allow them to access your phone to respond to calls or messages. Do not engage in social media scrolling or messaging while driving. Are you struggling not to text and drive? Activate your phone's Do Not Disturb feature or put your cell phone in the trunk, the glove box, or the back seat of your vehicle until you arrive at your destination. Remember, the Elgin Police are conducting directed patrols to enforce distracted driving violations. Just drive and stay safe. A message from our friends at the Elgin Police Department and your friends here at WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM. As grocery prices rise, take your family out to any of the Tommy's Red Hots location for great food at unbelievably low prices. There's 6 locations to serve you for both dine-in or carry-out. Tommy's has a diverse, delicious menu for you and your family with crispy pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and their famous hot dogs, plus so much more. Don't forget their scrumptious sides like mac and cheese bites. To see their menu and locations, visit Tommy'sRedHots.com today.
WRMN says thank you to all of our local veterans, like Jerry Christofferson of True Patriots Care.
We had the 1,700 flags up across from the wall. That's how many POWs and MIAs from Vietnam are still missing. Plus, we do veterans and first responders funerals.
Yeah.
And so if you ever drive by a funeral home or a church or a cemetery and you see the flags, you know a soldier died today.
Go to TruePatriotsCare.com for more information. And veterans, thank you for your service to our country. Welcome back to Kane County Speaks, 9:37 on this beautiful Thursday morning. And we're talking, Brian Anderson is talking with Eric Stair, running for Kane County Board 16, seat 16. And we have open phone lines if you want to be a part of the conversation, 847-931-1410. And we have a couple of YouTube comments this morning at WRMN Radio on YouTube from Marcos, who says, watching the last 2 financial board meetings was infuriating, and he also says, enough of this climate change crap. Not on my dime, says Marcos. And also Karen Weiland checks in and says, good morning, Eric, Brian, and Marky B. Great show all, talking about issues in the community. And I'm behind you 100%, Eric, says Karen. So welcome back, Brian and Eric.
Well, thanks, and thanks for your viewers chiming in. And I just want to thank Marco, and the best compliment you can do, Marco, or Karen, and then who else chimed in?
It was those two, yeah.
That the best compliment is let all of your friends know what is going on. Have them tune in to those board meetings, either live or online. So I'm just thankful for those comments, because it is about awareness. And I'm reminded all the time, even by some of the Democrats going, before you started to show up here 15, 16 months, nobody would be in the gallery. Right? Maybe somebody would come every once in a while. There's a zoning issue, and you'd have some people come. But for you guys to come, and you've never left, because we are concerned, fiscal responsibility that you've been talking about, and balancing the budget, and talking about areas that may be unpopular, which leads us into this segment of, what is your leadership style, and leading when you were on the Elgin Township, and just a leader in general.
Well, thanks, Brian. Good question. I had the honor of being able to serve, my country from the Marine Corps, and having that great benefit of going through Marine Corps training and just being able to serve at that capacity for 4 years. I had amazing leadership. I got to see what great leaders actually are, and it helped shape me to become a leader. And it was in Okinawa when I finally got my opportunity to lead. And I used a little bit of everything that I learned and implemented that with the Marines that were in my charge. And I'm a lead by example type guy.
Amen.
That's what I do. I'm a doer. I'm not much of a delegator. I guess that's something I probably should work at, but I'm a just roll up my sleeves kind of guy and get at it. And I try to lead by example.
Thanks for that, and we'll tap on that. I just got a tap from Mark. We've actually got a caller, so let's put our headphones on, and I think we've got somebody that wants to talk to us.
Yeah, we got a couple of phone calls at 847-931-1410. Let's see what this caller's got to say. Good morning. Welcome to Kane County Speaks.
Yeah, you got a caller. This is Joel.
Hey, Joel.
Hey, the Kane County guy, I've got a question for him. How come they're closing off the roads that go through some of the forest preserves? I know at Burnage Forest Preserve, you used to be able to drive through there to the back where you could get the wood chips, and they closed that road. Well, I'm a senior citizen, and I like to drive through the woods, and you can't do that anymore. And now in Rutland Forest Preserve, they've also blocked off that road, so you can't go all the way through there. You got to turn around and come back. This is our land. If you're stewards of that land, why don't you let us use it? And in the wintertime, why is it closed? There's times that there'd be a whole month where there'd be no snow, and I thought that was the reason they closed in the winter, because you couldn't drive through there. But many times you can. I think there should be a lot more flexibility, and the stress should be on letting people use the parks, period.
Okay, Joel, I'll ask Eric the question. I think he had some trouble hearing you, but Forest Preserve roads being closed, why are they closed so often? I think is what Joel's asking. I'm not sure if it's something you've studied yet or not. But
some of them are permanently closed. And there's roads there. There's a road you could drive a car on, but there's these yellow gates up there. Forget it. It's terrible.
Okay.
There's plenty.
Joel, this is
in the woods.
Sorry, I have a very hard time hearing you, Joel, but I think I understand what you're asking. This is the first I'm hearing about that, but I am going to look into that, and I think Brian was looking for, is there...
So thanks for the call, and thanks for bringing that up. So truth be told, I've been going to these board meetings for, well over 15 months, and we'll talk. So these board members, they actually have two hats. Their main hat is being a board member for the Kane County, obviously. Their other one is wearing a forest preserve hat, and they also have meetings. I've never been to a forest preserve meeting, but I would encourage you to reach out to the board member. His name is Chris Caius. Chris Caius. He's out of District 23. He is the chairman of the Forest Preserve. So he would be able to answer any of those questions for you. And I'm just gonna give you the phone number right now.
No, forget about that. He's not going to be able to answer those questions. There isn't a satisfactory answer to that. People should be able to drive through there like me.
I agree with you, Joel.
Yes, you need to call him and find out what's going on.
Thanks, Joel.
Well, you're a representative. You talk to him about it.
We will do that.
Every citizen have to call this guy to get the results? Okay, I'm gone. Let the next guy in.
Thank you so much.
I'll look into that for you, Joel.
Okay. Joel with his comments there about driving on the roads in the Forest Preserve, and he says they're closed quite often. It's 9:44 here at WRMN, and 847-931-1410 is our number. We have one more caller right now. Let's go back to the phones. Welcome to Kane County Speaks. Good morning.
Hey, Eric. This is Jim Whittington. I've called before. I'm not in your district, but I just want to commend you for your willingness to serve. I got one question for you. Given your busy activity is your regular job, and then you're on the Elgin council, are you planning to, when you successfully get elected, on the Kane County Board. Are you planning to give up your seat on the Elgin Council?
Yes, sir. I believe I'll have to. My term is up in April of next year. And I don't think you could serve on both, to my knowledge. I don't believe you're allowed to. So I would have to resign my seat for a few months until April. So the answer to your question is yes.
Okay, and I just want to, I want to commend you for your clear messaging. I mean, the times that I've been at board meetings and I've spoken, that's been my message. You got to reduce the expenses, and we've gotten away from, what government was supposed to be about. Some adequate police and fire protection and some good roads, and now we're into so many other things that should be easily cut out. And so I commend you for your clear messaging on that. I really support you on that. And you know what? You're the perfect guy for it because, you can take out the trash. Let's get rid of all the trash. Okay? And so good luck. And, I just wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that call.
Jim, thanks for calling in.
Well, you ever think about that slogan? I'll throw out the trash if you elect me as a Kane County board member. We do actually have one more phone call here.
Oh, wow. Outstanding.
Yeah, 847-931-1410. It just came in. It's Kane County Speaks here on this Thursday morning. Brian and Eric and myself, Marky B. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Eric. Hi, Marky B.
It's sidekick Susan. It's Susan.
Oh, hey. How you doing, Susan?
I just want to say you're doing a good job. Wish I could vote for you. I live in Elgin, and you live in South Elgin.
Oh, I know, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. I go to church with Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Susan, well, thank you.
He's a really good guy.
Well, Susan, this is Brian. Thank you so much for calling in. And as I've said before, the best compliment you can pay Eric is get as many of your friends. You don't have to live in his district to walk and knock and be a driver for people or hand out signs. And so if you really want to get him over the finish line, my message is simple. Be that Paul Revere and get everybody in Elgin or outside of Elgin for that matter. They can help him win. So thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, 9:47. We got about 11, 12 minutes left in the show, and I know a lot still to accomplish. Brian Anderson.
Well, thanks for the callers today. And, it's a reminder. It is all hands on deck. And, yes, I can't vote for you, right? I live in Sugar Grove. I can't vote for you. But, boy, I can do everything else to support you. And we can do that. I said it in the last interview, regardless of November 5th at the national, we're voting for president on the way down. Here in Kane County, get out and vote for every person from the top all the way down. I heard an interesting statistic last night that apparently 18% of registered Republicans, they go in and they vote for the president and the vice president and maybe a couple other key, and then they go, oh, I'm done. And so here's the reminder. Go in and start at the top and go all the way down to the dog catcher, because every person and position matters, especially this election cycle locally in Kane County. We have to get the right people in the right seats doing the right things for we the people here in Kane County. So back to doing the right things. Tell us about your leadership style, and then to pivot after that, a couple of big accomplishments that you're proud of.
Well, my leadership style, I think we covered already. I said I lead by example. Some of the things that I'm particularly proud of is, what we've been able to accomplish on the township board. One in particular is, just last year, we funded 2 pro-life organizations to the tune of, I think, about $70,000, which, to my knowledge, is the first time that's happened in Illinois. at least at the township level. And we do a lot of social service funding, and that's kind of, a big function of what we do at the township. I'm very proud of the fact that we've been able to do that, because I'm very pro-life. The next thing is there was an organization, and I won't name the name, but they were getting funded, I think, $50,000 a year for 10 straight years prior to us taking office. And they're doing gender-affirming care to children and prescribing puberty blockers. And we were able to stop that from happening. 2 years ago, I believe we gave them $0. There's also another organization that I called out during their presentation. Caught a lot of blowback for this, which is fine, but it kind of comes with the territory. But evidently, as a township trustee, I'm not allowed to ask questions. I don't pay much attention to that. I still ask my questions. But anyhow, they claim that they're a Christian organization, and then I did a little scratching below the surface. Come to find out, they had a 21-day program for young women, and number one on their program was critical race theory. And so they're teaching and support that kind of nonsense. And then the other thing that they are doing is handing out, I don't know the medical term or the technical term for it, but it's essentially breast suppressors. And then, for guys, special underwear, I guess you can wear, or whatever. But they're handing that stuff out for free. And we were able to stop them from getting any funding as well. So I'm proud that we were able to do that as a township board. I don't think organizations like that should have any funding at all from the taxpayer. Trying to think, what was your other question?
No, I want to go back while I'm looking for something to bring up a point. Yes, leadership by example. There in the military gave you a great model, but in your own leading. We all interface with people, so leading at Republic, whatever that looks like, or even leading the board members to a certain degree. Just expand on that for just a moment on your leadership style.
Well, I think our board, we're all leaders, definitely leaders. But where I kind of started off when I got involved in politics and when I ran for trustee, I won't go into that story because I don't think we have this much time or that much time. But anyhow, I kind of took the approach of, kick the door in and make it happen, and that was my philosophy going in. And I was getting very little, if any, very little results out of it. And I'm frustrated, kind of a year goes by. I did my homework. I mean, I spent hours and hours and hours researching and trying to, find out everything I possibly could and be a student of what we do. And I had a good conversation with a very good friend of mine, and he gave me a different perspective. The one question he asked me is, Eric, what can you honestly say you've done for me in this last year as my elected official? And I thought about it, and I'm like, honestly, nothing. I've done nothing for you. I've worked really hard. I've tried, but I've been unsuccessful. He's like, well, why don't you have a different approach to things? And he kind of told me to, instead of trying to win it all, pick your battles. Talk to the other trustees and try to figure things out. And for the last 3 years, I've spent that 3 years trying to grow and mature in my role as a trustee. And I've learned a lot, and I think I've grown a lot. You can refer to Mark for that. I mean, he's watched me these last 4 years, but and I think we have great discussions in our meetings. When we disagree with each other, we all we just deliberate pretty well. And when we're done, none of us walk out of there angry at each other.
Right. So I'm glad we went back to that, because what I just heard was simply amazing. And I'm glad we brought it up for your listeners, because what you're listening to, ladies and gentlemen, is someone that, again, takes great self-reflection. Many people, I am who I am, I do what I do, take it or leave it. And just for you to pause, reflect. I've been working. It tells people you're teachable and trainable, which is a great leadership quality. It tells people that you are willing to stop, pause, and listen and go, maybe my way isn't the best way. So what a great example that you just shared with us. What I was fiddling with is when you were talking about those tough decisions that you made. And by the way, another great quality that we want on the board is, tackling some of those challenges. I just went to, in Geneva, they meet monthly, Three-Headed Eagle. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're a great organization. They have speakers from all over the country come in. They had an attorney, Dr. Mary Holland, who's also lead counsel with Family Defense Fund, and she was sharing with a group of over 200 people in the audience what they're now finding out with these puberty blockers, right, to your point. Why on earth, right, if my grandson comes home and he's been playing in the, at school, he's going to be in 4th grade, and all of a sudden, I don't want to be Bobby anymore. I want to be Brenda. We got to fix these puberty blockers. Now have been cause depression, suicidal tendencies. They're not good. They're not researched.
Irreversible.
And they are irreversible. So I commend you to tackle tough issues. And that is what we want as a board member. And you're right. And maybe even it was one of the other callers that, again, it goes back to what we said yesterday, keep the main thing the main thing. It's balancing the budget and making sure that we're providing the right services for we the people here in Kane County. As Joel alluded to, I want to be able to drive around to any of these parks or through the forest preserve and be able to do that freely and not worry about some of these other initiatives that they're losing focus on. So with our time coming down, they say 46% of these voters in Kane County now are independents. What would you tell everybody why Eric Stair would be a good choice for them to go into the voting booth and vote for you in November?
Well, I'll be fiscally responsible. I'm all business. There's no BS with me. I'm straight to the point. I don't play around, and I'm going to make sure I do what needs to be done. And what needs to be done is we need to stop the spending. And I'll make sure that happens. I'm not going to get in the weeds with all the social nonsense going on. If I have to, I have no problem doing that either. But that isn't my goal. I'm not trying to be divisive. I'm not trying to cause controversy. I just want common sense governance. I want to enjoy being able to go do whatever I want without mandates or any of that, nonsense. Like
yes.
I am very anti-mandate.
Well, agreed. And I think what we've learned in the last 4 years is some of these mandates were actually not what we needed. But I am getting the proverbial it's time to wrap from our friend Marky B. It's been a great show. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah,
Eric, thank you for taking time out and coming in today.
Thank you guys very much.
And what's your website?
Oh, it's ericstair.com.
ericstair.com. Check it out. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mark.
Brian Kilmeade next. Attention all burger enthusiasts and game aficionados. Celebrate a century of excellence at Mott's Lounge, proudly serving the community for 100 years under 5 generations of passionate ownership. Sink your teeth into our hand-pressed fresh burgers bursting with flavor, crafted just the way you like them. And while you're here, enjoy our exclusive drink specials, perfect for toasting to our milestone anniversary. Plus, challenge your luck with our state-of-the-art gaming machines, adding an extra thrill to your visit. Join us at Mott's Lounge and be a part of history in the making. Here's to another century of great food, fun, and memories. Mott's Lounge, where every visit is a celebration.